The alarm blared through Earth Defense Force headquarters. Commander Ju Kim rubbed her tired eyes and stared at the red dots swarming across the holographic display. After years of scanning the stars, humanity had finally gotten an answer, but not the one they had hoped for. "Status report," Ju ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her stomach. Lieutenant Taewoo looked up from his console. 17 Commonwealth warships have entered our solar system. They've reached Jupiter's orbit and continue to advance. For decades, Earth had sent radio signals into space, hoping to contact other intelligent life. They had built powerful telescopes and listening arrays, searching for any sign they weren't alone in the universe. 6 months ago, they had gotten their wish when the first Commonwealth scout ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. "Show me the approach vector," Ju said. The hologram shifted, displaying the solar system in miniature. The alien ships moved in perfect formation, like predators stalking prey. "Have they responded to our latest message?" she asked. Taewoo shook his head. "No, Commander. We've tried all frequencies and formats. They're ignoring us. Or they simply don't care what we have to say," Ju muttered. The Galactic Commonwealth was an alliance of over 300 advanced species. Humanity had learned this from brief, one-sided communications when the scout ships first arrived. The aliens had scanned Earth thoroughly, mapping every city, military base, and power station. Then they left without a word. Now they had returned in force. "What's our defense capability?" Ju asked, though she already knew the answer. General Sumgo Park stepped forward, his weathered face grim. "Our nuclear arsenal might destroy 1 or 2 of their smaller vessels, but their shields are far beyond our technology. The truth is, Commander, we have no effective defense against this level of advancement." Juwoo's hand tightened into a fist. 6 billion lives depended on decisions made in this room, and she had no good options. "The President will address the United Nations in 30 minutes, General Park continued. "Some nations are suggesting immediate surrender to avoid planetary bombardment." "And what good would that do?" Ju snapped. "From what we've intercepted, the Commonwealth doesn't take prisoners. They harvest resources, including biological ones." The room fell silent. Everyone present understood what that meant. Ju turned back to the holographic display. If they wanted simple resources, they could have harvested the outer planets without opposition. They're coming specifically for Earth. For us. At that moment, a junior officer burst into the command center. "Commander, we're detecting massive seismic activity in Antarctica." Ju frowned. "A natural earthquake?" "No, ma'am. The pattern is artificial. Something's happening under the ice sheet." A hologram shifted to show Antarctica. Deep beneath 2 miles of ancient ice, energy readings spiked off the charts. "What the hell?" General Park whispered. Taewoo worked frantically at his station. "Commander, the activity began precisely when the Commonwealth fleet crossed Mars' orbit. It's like something down there was waiting for them." Ju leaned forward. "Show me." The display zoomed in on a section of Antarctica that appeared unchanged on the surface. But thermal imaging revealed something impossible. A structure beneath the ice, awakening after what must have been thousands of years of dormancy. "Get me satellite confirmation," Ju ordered. Within minutes they had it. The ice was shifting, cracking in perfect geometric patterns. Whatever lay beneath was massive, at least several kilometers across. "Sir, object approaching from the Commonwealth fleet," another officer reported. "Single vessel, moving fast." The alien ship broke formation, accelerating toward Earth. It was smaller than the others, but still dwarfed anything humans had ever built. "They've detected the activity," Ju realized. "They're sending a scout to investigate." As the alien vessel entered Earth's atmosphere, the seismic readings in Antarctica went off the scale. The ice sheet split open along precise lines. A structure, a machine, though unlike any human design, rose slowly from the depths. It was beautiful in its alienness. Gleaming surfaces that weren't quite metal caught the Antarctic sun. Parts of it seemed to phase in and out of visibility, as if it existed partially in another dimension. "What is that thing?" General Park breathed. Before anyone could answer, the structure fired a beam of blue-white energy. It struck the approaching Commonwealth ship, which simply disappeared, not exploding, not breaking apart, but vanishing as if it had never existed. Alarms blared across the command center. "The Commonwealth fleet has changed course," Tehu reported, his voice shaking. "All vessels moving to attack formation. They're targeting Antarctica." The first alien weapon fired, a lance of green energy that should have vaporized half the continent. Instead, it dissipated harmlessly against an invisible shield that briefly shimmered into visibility around Earth. The Antarctic structure responded. Dozens of energy beams lashed out simultaneously, striking Commonwealth vessels with unerring accuracy. 3 alien ships vanished instantly. 2 more spun out of control, their systems failing. "It's defending us," Jiwoo whispered. The command center erupted in shocked chatter. On screen, the battle continued. The Commonwealth brought their full firepower to bear, planet killer weapons that could reduce worlds to ash. None penetrated the shield. "Commander," Tewu called out, "we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from Antarctica." "Put it through," Jiwoo ordered. A voice filled the room, neither male nor female, neither mechanical nor organic, but something in between. It spoke perfect Korean, though Jiwoo somehow knew it could speak any human language. "The Guardians placed me here before your species walked upright," it said. "I was created to ensure that life on this world could evolve without interference. The threat has been detected. Defensive protocols are active." "Who are you?" Jiwoo asked. "I am the Watcher of Earth. The Commonwealth and others like them have destroyed 10,000 worlds. They will not destroy yours." On the display, the alien fleet was in disarray. Half their ships had already been disabled or destroyed. "They're retreating," Tewu announced as the remaining Commonwealth vessels accelerated away from Earth. The voice from Antarctica spoke again. "They will return with greater numbers. But by then, you will be ready." "Ready how?" General Park demanded. "Humanity has progressed far enough to join the greater galactic community," the Watcher replied. "I will share knowledge with you. Knowledge your ancestors were not ready to receive. You will build your defenses. You will take your place among the stars." As the last Commonwealth ship disappeared into the darkness of space, the command center fell silent. Humanity had stood on the brink of extinction and been saved by something ancient and powerful, something that had waited patiently beneath the ice for thousands of years. Jiwoo looked at the faces around her, seeing hope replacing fear. Whatever happened next, Earth was no longer alone and defenseless. The rules of the game had changed forever. The Watcher of Earth had awakened, and the Galactic Commonwealth, for the first time in its long history of conquest, knew fear. Admiral Vrax stood on the command bridge of his massive dreadnought, the pride of conquest. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the small blue planet growing larger on the main view screen. Earth looked so fragile, so vulnerable, just like all the other worlds his fleet had conquered before. "Such a primitive species," Vrax said to his second-in-command, Officer Threll. "Their most advanced weapons are simple nuclear devices. They've barely left their own atmosphere." "Yes, Admiral," Threll replied. "Our scans show they've only recently discovered faster-than-light communications. They have no defense against our technology." Vrax's mouthparts clicked together in satisfaction. The Commonwealth had strict protocols for dealing with emerging civilizations. Species that showed aggressive tendencies were to be eliminated before they could become a threat. Humans, with their constant wars and rapid technological advancement, had been marked for cleansing. "Prepare the first wave," Vrax ordered. "Target their major population centers and military installations." On the bridge of the dreadnought, alien officers moved with practiced efficiency. Weapon systems hummed to life. Energy built up in the massive cannons that could crack a planet's crust. "Weapons ready, Admiral," the tactical officer announced. "Awaiting your command." Vrax raised a limb. "Begin the cleansing protocol." Far below, in the underground command center in Seoul, Major Do-Hyun Park felt a bead of sweat roll down his temple as he watched the alien ships moving into attack formation. For weeks, the Earth Defense Force had monitored the approaching fleet, hoping for some miracle. Now, it seemed their time had run out. Energy buildup detected in the lead vessel, called out Lieutenant Suman. "They're preparing to fire." Major Park's fingers flew across his console, sending the alert to all EDF outposts around the globe. "Commander Kim, the lead vessels are moving into attack formation," he reported, his voice steady despite his racing heart. In the main command center, Commander Joo Kim watched the same data with a grim expression. Earth's combined military forces were powerless against such advanced technology. "All stations, prepare for impact," she ordered. "Civilian shelters are at maximum capacity. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us." The view screen showed the massive alien dreadnought, its weapon ports glowing with energy. A beam of blinding green light shot forth, aimed directly at Seoul. But something impossible happened. The beam struck what appeared to be empty air 20 miles above the city. Instead of continuing to the surface, it spread out across an invisible dome, dissipating harmlessly in a spectacular light show. "What just happened?" Commander Kim demanded, staring at the redouts in disbelief. "Unknown, Commander," Major Park replied. "The attack was blocked by something." On the Pride of Conquest, Admiral Vrax leaned forward in shock. "Explain this," he roared. "Unknown defense technology, Admiral," his science officer replied, mandibles twitching in confusion. "Our sensors detected nothing until the beam made contact." "Impossible." Vrax slammed a limb against his command chair. "Increase power and fire again." The dreadnought's main cannon charged to maximum capacity and fired a beam twice as powerful as the first. Again, it splashed harmlessly against the invisible shield protecting Earth. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's southern polar region. Something is activating down there." Vrax turned his attention to the new data. The readings made no sense. The technology being detected was far beyond even Commonwealth understanding. "This can't be," the science officer whispered. "These readings match old legends of the ancients." "Nonsense," Vrax snapped. "The ancients are a myth, stories to frighten hatchlings." In Antarctica, the ice continued to break apart as enormous structures rose toward the sky. They were not built of any recognizable material. They seemed to shift between solid matter and pure energy. The largest structure was a tower that extended beyond Earth's atmosphere, its top disappearing into the thermosphere. In Seoul Command, the technicians watched in awe as their monitors showed the emergence of the ancient defense system. "What is happening?" Joo whispered, her eyes wide as the screens displayed increasingly impossible readings. Major Park could only shake his head in wonder. "Something is protecting us. Something that's been here all along." One of the junior officers, a specialist in ancient mythology, spoke up hesitantly. "Commander, this reminds me of old Earth legends, stories about guardians left by advanced visitors in prehistoric times." "Legends don't stop energy weapons," Commander Kim replied, but her voice lacked conviction as she watched the impossible unfold before her eyes. Above Earth, smaller structures detached from the main Antarctic complex, rising into orbit. They were sleek, beautiful machines that moved with impossible grace. They positioned themselves in a defensive grid around the planet. On the Pride of Conquest, panic was setting in. "Admiral, those objects are moving to surround our fleet," the tactical officer reported. "Their energy signatures are off the charts." "Launch fighters," Vrax ordered. "Target those defense platforms." Commonwealth fighters poured from the larger ships, thousands of them swarming toward the Earth defense platforms. They fired their weapons, but their energy blasts were absorbed without effect. Then the Earth platforms responded. They didn't fire beams or projectiles. Instead, spheres of blue-white energy expanded from each platform, engulfing the Commonwealth fighters. When the spheres dissipated, the fighters were simply gone, not destroyed, but removed from existence. Impossible, Vrax whispered, his confidence evaporating. The defense platforms continued their work methodically. One by one, they approached the larger Commonwealth ships. Some of the alien vessels tried to flee, but the platforms moved faster than any known spacecraft. "Admiral, we should retreat," Officer Threld suggested, fear evident in his voice. Vrax couldn't respond. His entire life had been dedicated to the Commonwealth's expansion. The idea of retreat was foreign to him. But as he watched another dreadnought vanish into one of those terrible blue-white spheres, survival instinct finally overcame pride. "All vessels, emergency jump," he ordered. "Return to Commonwealth space immediately." On Earth, humans watched in amazement as the invincible alien fleet turned and fled. Some ships were too slow. The defense platforms caught them, removing them from existence without violence or explosion, simply erasing them. As the last Commonwealth ships disappeared into faster-than-light jumps, the command center in Seoul erupted in cheers and tears of relief. Commander Kim sat back in her chair, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. "Major Park," she said finally, "what just saved us?" Before he could answer, every communication device in the command center activated simultaneously. A voice that seemed neither human nor machine spoke in perfect, unaccented Korean. "I am the guardian of Earth. I was placed here by those you would call the ancients, when your species was young. My purpose is to protect this world until its dominant species reaches maturity." "Why didn't you reveal yourself before now?" Commander Kim asked. "I was programmed to remain dormant until Earth faced a threat it could not overcome. The Commonwealth's arrival triggered my activation protocols." Major Park stared at the screens showing the massive structures still rising from Antarctica. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," the Guardian replied, "humanity takes its first true steps into the galactic community. I will help prepare you. The Commonwealth will return, and when they do, you must be ready." Commander Kim and Major Park exchanged glances, understanding that everything had changed. Earth was no longer alone and helpless in the universe. They had a protector that had waited patiently through the millennia of human evolution, watching over them like a silent guardian angel. And for the first time in their long history of conquest, the mighty Commonwealth knew fear. The message echoed through every radio, television, phone, and computer on Earth. "This world is protected. You have one opportunity to withdraw." It played in perfect local dialects across all nations, understood by everyone who heard it. In the Seoul Command Center, Commander Joo Kim felt goosebumps rise on her arms as the voice resonated through the room. It wasn't harsh or threatening. It was calm, almost gentle, yet carried absolute authority. "What is it?" she asked no one in particular. The main screen flickered and transformed. A holographic image appeared, complex networks of energy and matter spanning the entire solar system. What looked like dormant satellites appeared around Earth, Mars, and even the outer planets. Defense platforms materialized in orbit. All had been hidden, cloaked by technology beyond human understanding. "It's beautiful," whispered Major Do-Yeon Park. Lieutenant Min-ji Lee worked frantically at her console, trying to process the flood of new data. "Commander, these systems have been here all along. They were just invisible to us." A new hologram formed in the center of the command room, a shifting, glowing presence that wasn't quite solid, wasn't quite energy, but something in between. It spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I am the Guardian System. I was installed on this world 247 million years ago by the Cedars to protect developing life forms until they reached maturity." Commander Kim stepped forward. Who were the Cedars? They were the first advanced civilization in this galaxy. They seeded life on thousands of worlds, including Earth. They are gone now, but their guardianship continues through systems like me. The hologram shifted, showing the Commonwealth fleet regrouping for another attack. They're not leaving, Major Park noted. No, the Guardian agreed. The Commonwealth does not retreat. Their doctrine forbids it. In space, Admiral Vrax felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. The initial defensive response had destroyed 3 of his ships without firing conventional weapons. They had simply ceased to exist. But doctrine was clear. The Commonwealth never retreated. To do so meant disgrace and execution upon return. All ships, coordinate targeting, he ordered. Maximum power to forward shields. We will break through this defense system. His tactical officer hesitated. Admiral, the technology we're facing appears to be Cedar in origin. Our historical records suggest legends and myths. Vrax snapped. The Cedars are fairy tales. This is simply a hidden defense system of the humans, perhaps provided by one of our rivals. He stood from his command chair, pointing at Earth. All ships, fire all weapons. Hundreds of energy beams lanced toward Earth simultaneously, enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. The Guardian system responded. Space itself seemed to ripple around Earth. The beams distorted, twisted, and were absorbed into what looked like tiny black holes that appeared and disappeared in microseconds. Space-time manipulation, Lieutenant Minji Lee said in wonder as she watched the readings. They're creating micro-singularities to absorb the energy. The Guardian spoke again. I have analyzed their technology. It is primitive compared to Cedar systems. Primitive. Major Park choked. Their weapons could destroy our planet. Yes, the Guardian agreed simply. But they cannot harm me. On the tactical display, the Guardian's defense platforms moved with impossible speed. They didn't fire energy weapons or missiles. They simply created fields of distorted space-time around Commonwealth ships. Some vessels imploded, crushed by gravitational forces. Others disappeared into brief flashes of light, teleported to the far reaches of the solar system. Admiral Vrax watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by forces he couldn't comprehend. His own flagship shuddered as one of the defense platforms approached. Emergency jump, he screamed. All power to engines. The Pride of Conquest's jump drives engaged, but space around the ship refused to cooperate. The fabric of reality had become thick and resistant, like trying to run through deep water. On his view screen, Vrax saw a small defense platform, barely the size of a shuttle, approach his massive dreadnought. It pulsed once with blue light. The Pride of Conquest shuddered. Systems failed across the ship. Weapons went dead. Engines shut down. What's happening? Vrax demanded. His science officer stared at readings in disbelief. It's rewriting our technology, changing it at the molecular level. On the main bridge, control panels transformed before their eyes. Familiar controls shifted and changed into unknown configurations. The ship's AI went silent. A voice filled the bridge, the same voice that had offered the warning. Your ship has been neutralized. You will be allowed to return to Commonwealth space with a message. Earth is under protection of a Cedar Guardian. Further aggression will result in complete technological regression of the Commonwealth. Vrax's mandibles clicked in fear. The Cedars are real, he whispered. In Seoul, Lieutenant Minji Lee's eyes widened as she processed incoming data. Commander, the alien fleet is retreating. 80% of their vessels have been neutralized. Commander Kim watched the tactical display as the remaining Commonwealth ships limped away, jumping to faster-than-light travel as soon as they cleared the Guardian's influence. What happens now? She asked the Guardian's holographic presence. Now humanity must prepare, it replied. The Commonwealth will report to its council. They will debate. They will plan. And they will return. But you defeated them easily, Major Park said. I did, but I am programmed to prepare Earth's native species for galactic citizenship, not to fight your battles indefinitely. My purpose is to guide, protect, and eventually step aside. The hologram expanded, showing the galaxy with thousands of points of light. The Commonwealth is but one of many civilizations. Some are peaceful, many are not. Earth must take its place among them from a position of strength. Commander Kim frowned. Our technology is centuries behind theirs, which is why I will help accelerate your development, the Guardian replied. The Cedars left knowledge banks for this purpose. I will share technology that you can understand and implement. The hologram changed, showing designs for new energy systems, propulsion technologies, and defensive capabilities far beyond current human science, yet recognizably built upon existing principles. These designs, Major Park studied them in amazement. We could actually build these with current manufacturing capabilities. Yes, the Guardian confirmed. They are simplified forms of advanced technology, adapted to your current industrial capacity. As you master each level, more will be provided. Commander Kim had a sudden realization. You've been watching us all along, haven't you? Through our entire history. Yes, I have observed humanity's development from primitive tribes to your current civilization. I have watched your wars, your achievements, your struggles. I have waited for the moment when you would need me. And you judged us worthy of protection, she asked. The Guardian's hologram pulsed slightly. My programming does not include judgment. All developing worlds seeded by my creators receive protection. But I have observed that humans possess remarkable adaptability and resilience. These qualities will serve you well in the greater galaxy. Outside the command center, word of the Guardian's existence spread across Earth. Humans looked up at the sky with new understanding. They were not alone, and they were not defenseless. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the remnants of the Commonwealth fleet carried a message that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Earth was protected by technology from the legendary Cedars. A sleeping giant had awakened. The game had changed forever. The news spread through the Commonwealth capital world like wildfire. Workers paused in their duties, citizens gathered around public screens, and even the normally stoic military personnel whispered among themselves. The mighty Commonwealth fleet had been defeated, not merely repelled, but utterly humiliated by a supposedly primitive world. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives from 300 species sat in shocked silence as Admiral Vrax's report played on the central hologram. His once proud voice now trembled as he described the Guardian's capabilities. The defense system activated as soon as we prepared to fire, Vrax explained. It neutralized our weapons without effort. When we continued the attack, it disabled 80% of our fleet within minutes. His mandibles clicked nervously. The technology matches ancient descriptions of cedar artifacts. The word cedar caused an immediate reaction. Council members turned to each other in disbelief and fear. The Cedars were supposed to be myths, ancient beings who had allegedly spread life throughout the galaxy before disappearing millions of years ago. High Counselor Mez, leader of the Commonwealth, rose from her seat. Her species' 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme stress. Are you suggesting, Admiral, that this primitive world Earth is protected by actual cedar technology? She demanded. The evidence is conclusive, High Counselor. Vrax replied. The Guardian referred to itself as a cedar creation. Its capabilities far exceed anything in the Commonwealth. Far from this political turmoil, on Earth, things were changing rapidly. Just 3 weeks after the Commonwealth retreat, Commander Ju Kim stood in the newly established Guardian liaison facility in Antarctica. The massive structure had been built around a small portion of the Guardian's physical systems that extended above the ice. Ju watched as Dr. Hyunwoo Kang examined a holographic display showing schematics for a new type of energy reactor. His eyes were wide with wonder as he manipulated the image, expanding and contracting different components with simple hand gestures. This is remarkable, Dr. Kang said. The principles are similar to our early fusion experiments, but with refinements we wouldn't have discovered for at least a century. The Guardian's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. This design is adapted to your current manufacturing capabilities. More advanced versions will be provided as your technology progresses. Juwu had spent every day since first contact working with the Guardian. As Earth's official liaison, she coordinated between the ancient defense system and the hastily formed Global Cooperation Council, a new governing body representing all Earth nations. How quickly can we implement these designs? She asked. Dr. Kang adjusted his glasses. With global cooperation, we could have the first prototype reactor built within 6 months. Within 2 years, we could begin replacing fossil fuel plants worldwide. That's not fast enough, Juwu said, thinking of the Commonwealth's inevitable return. We need to accelerate our development. I agree, the Guardian replied. A new hologram appeared, showing Earth surrounded by defense platforms. I can maintain your protection indefinitely, but my primary function is to prepare you for independence. The hologram shifted to show a timeline of technological development. At your current rate of implementation, Earth will reach Level 3 technological status within 20 years. This is insufficient. What do you suggest? Dr. Kang asked. Direct neural interface for knowledge transfer. Juwu and Dr. Kang exchanged concerned glances. You mean, putting information directly into people's brains? Juwu asked cautiously. Yes, I can design interfaces that would allow selected scientists and engineers to absorb technical knowledge rapidly. The process is safe and reversible. Dr. Kang looked troubled. That's a significant step. There would be ethical concerns, security issues. There would, the Guardian agreed. But the alternative is remaining vulnerable for decades. Before they could discuss further, Juwu's communication device chimed. It was a priority message from the Global Cooperation Council. Commander Kim, the Council President's voice came through clearly. We've received a transmission. Not from the Commonwealth, from someone else. They're requesting permission to send a diplomatic delegation to Earth. Juwu felt her heart rate increase. Another alien species. Yes, they call themselves the Collective. They claim to be longtime rivals of the Commonwealth. They say they've been watching events unfold and wish to establish relations with Earth. Juwu looked at the Guardian's holographic presence. Did you know about this? Yes, the Guardian replied. The Collective has observed Earth for some time. They are one of 17 major galactic powers. Unlike the Commonwealth, they prefer diplomacy and trade to conquest. Can they be trusted? Dr. Kang asked. No galactic power can be fully trusted, the Guardian stated simply. All have their own agendas. The Collective seeks allies against the Commonwealth, but they also want access to me, a verified Cedar artifact. Across the galaxy, in the Collective's elegant orbital capital, Supreme Diplomat Elar addressed her government's ruling body. Unlike the militaristic Commonwealth, the Collective valued subtlety and long-term planning. The situation presents a unique opportunity, Elar explained. Earth possesses the only known active Cedar Guardian in the galaxy. If we establish friendly relations now, we gain an ally with potentially revolutionary technology. One of the council members raised a delicate appendage. But what if the Commonwealth returns in force? We cannot directly oppose them militarily. Elar's mouthparts formed the equivalent of a smile. We don't need to. The Guardian has demonstrated its ability to neutralize Commonwealth forces. Our goal is to form an alliance with Earth before others recognize the opportunity. Back on Earth, Juwu stood in the Global Cooperation Council chamber. Representatives from every nation listened as she explained the Collective's request. The Guardian confirms they are a major galactic power, she said. Unlike the Commonwealth, they emphasize trade and diplomacy over military conquest. Can we trust them? Asked the representative from India. The Guardian advises caution. Juwu replied honestly. All galactic powers have their own agendas. The Collective wants access to Cedar technology, but they're also threatened by the Commonwealth. This makes them potential allies. Dr. Kang stepped forward to address the council. The Guardian is sharing knowledge at an unprecedented rate. Just today, we received designs for advanced fusion reactors, medical technologies that could extend human lifespan by decades, and materials stronger than anything we've ever created. He displayed holographic images of the new technologies. With these advances, we could begin limited space exploration beyond our solar system within 5 years. But we're in a race against time. The Commonwealth will return, possibly with allies. The Council President nodded gravely. Then we have 2 paths forward. Accelerate our development with the Guardians' help, and establish diplomatic relations with other galactic powers. Jiwoo thought about the neural interface the Guardian had proposed. The idea was frightening but might be necessary. The Guardian has suggested more direct methods for knowledge transfer, she said carefully. These would require careful ethical consideration, but could dramatically speed our technological development. As the Council debated, Jiwoo's mind returned to the Commonwealth. Their defeat would not be the end. It was merely the beginning of Earth's entry onto a galactic stage, far more complex and dangerous than humanity had ever imagined. In the Commonwealth capital, the Council's debate had turned heated. Some members called for a massive military buildup to return to Earth with overwhelming force. Others advocated for a more cautious approach. The Guardian is a Cedar artifact, one representative argued. We cannot oppose such technology directly. High Counselor Mez silenced the chamber with a gesture. We will not abandon our claim to Earth, but neither will we rush blindly into destruction. We will study this Guardian, find its weaknesses, and prepare a response that ensures Commonwealth dominance. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the holographic image of the blue planet that had dared to resist. Earth has won a reprieve, not a victory. The Commonwealth's patience is vast, but not infinite. Throughout the galaxy, other powers watched and calculated. Earth had suddenly become the most interesting planet in the galaxy, home to an active Cedar Guardian and a species advancing at an unprecedented rate. The game of galactic politics had a new player, and nothing would ever be the same again. Admiral Jiwoo Kim stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, Earth's first orbital diplomatic center. Through the massive viewport, she could see Earth shining blue and beautiful below. Mars glowed red in the distance, its surface now dotted with human research outposts and mining facilities. 5 years had changed everything. Jiwoo straightened her new uniform, dark blue with silver trim, bearing the insignia of the Earth Space Force. She remembered the days when she had been merely Commander Kim, expecting the end of human civilization. Now she commanded humanity's first interplanetary defense fleet. Admiral, the Commonwealth delegation has docked, reported Lieutenant Commander Chunho Lee. They're being escorted to the conference chamber now. Jiwoo nodded. And our ships. All in position, Admiral. The Guardian defense platforms have acknowledged our coordination protocols. This diplomatic meeting was historic. Representatives from the moderate faction of the Commonwealth had requested peace talks. After their crushing defeat 5 years ago, the Commonwealth had fractured into competing factions. The moderates sought alliance with Earth rather than conquest. The door slid open, and Dr. Hyunwoo Kang entered. In the past 5 years, he had become Earth's foremost expert on alien technology. The neural interface program he had helped develop had accelerated human technological advancement beyond all expectations. The neural maps from the latest knowledge transfer are integrating well, he said, falling into step beside Jiwoo as they walked toward the conference chamber. The engineering team has already begun work on the gravity manipulation systems. Good, Jiwoo replied. How are the Mars terraforming projects progressing? Ahead of schedule. The atmospheric processors are working at 118% of projected efficiency. Mars will have breathable air in specific regions within 3 years. They reached the conference chamber, where representatives from every Earth nation waited. The new Global Unity Council had replaced the old competing political systems. Facing extinction had a way of unifying people. The Commonwealth delegation entered, 6 aliens of different species, all wearing the formal diplomatic colors of the moderate faction. Their leader, Ambassador Kilm, stepped forward. His species resembled tall, slender humanoids with iridescent skin. "Admiral Kim," he said, his translator converting his musical language to crisp Korean. "On behalf of the reformed Commonwealth, I bring greetings of peace." "Ambassador Kim." Ju replied with a formal bow. "Earth welcomes you in the spirit of cooperation." The formal pleasantries had just begun when Lieutenant Commander Lee burst into the room, his face tight with alarm. "Admiral, massive jump signatures detected at the edge of the solar system. It's the hardline Commonwealth faction. They've brought a fleet, at least 3 times larger than the previous invasion force." The room erupted in concerned murmurs. Ambassador Kilm's skin paled to a lighter shade of blue. "This was not authorized by the reformed Commonwealth," he insisted. "High Commander Vrax leads the hardliners. He has sworn to erase the shame of their previous defeat." Ju remained calm. "Lieutenant Commander, alert all Earth ships. Move to defensive position Alpha and notify the Guardian." "Yes, Admiral." Dr. Kang brought up a tactical display in the center of the conference room. It showed the approaching fleet, hundreds of warships, including 5 super dreadnoughts. "They've brought planet killers," one of the Earth representatives whispered. Ambassador Kelm studied the display with growing concern. "Even with your Guardian, this force may overwhelm your defenses. Vrax has spent 5 years gathering allies and upgrading his weapons specifically to counter Cedar technology." Ju smiled slightly. "The Commonwealth isn't the only one who's been preparing." She touched her communication device. "Earth Space Force, this is Admiral Kim. Deploy the solar shield. All ships move to battle stations." Across the solar system, humanity's response unfolded. Orbital platforms around Earth, Mars, and Venus activated simultaneously. They projected energy fields that linked together, creating a defensive network throughout the inner solar system. The Earth fleet moved into formation. 20 large cruisers and 50 smaller frigates. They were few compared to the Commonwealth Armée, but they carried technology that no other species possessed. A perfect blend of human innovation and Guardian knowledge. On the tactical display, the Guardian's defense platforms also activated, rising from hidden bases on moons and asteroids throughout the system. "I need to get to the command center," Ju said. "Ambassador Kilm, you and your delegation should remain here for safety." In the command center of Harmony Station, Ju took her position. The massive view screens showed the approaching Commonwealth fleet, now visible as points of light against the darkness. "They're charging weapons," reported Lieutenant Commander Lee. "Open a channel," Ju ordered. "All frequencies." When the communication officer nodded, Ju straightened her shoulders and spoke with clear authority. "Attention Commonwealth Fleet. This is Admiral Ju Kim of Earth. Your presence in our system with weapons charged is an act of aggression. We request that you withdraw immediately." The response came quickly, a visual transmission showing High Commander Vrax. He had been modified since his last encounter with Earth, with cybernetic enhancements across his body. "Earth vermin," he snarled. "Your Guardian humiliated the Commonwealth. We have returned to correct that mistake. Our new weapons can overcome Cedar technology. Surrender the Guardian to us, and we may allow some of your species to live as servants." Ju maintained her composure. "High Commander, much has changed in 5 years. The Commonwealth itself has changed, as evidenced by your own internal divisions. We currently host a diplomatic delegation from your moderate faction." Vrax's eyes widened in rage. "Traitors. They will be destroyed along with you." "Before you make a terrible mistake," Ju continued, "I should inform you that Earth is now allied with the Collective, the Vega Concordance, and 3 other major powers. An attack on Earth will trigger a galactic response." This was true. Earth's possession of a Cedar Guardian had made it an attractive ally to many of the Commonwealth's rivals. "Lies will not save you," Vrax hissed. "We attack in 10 minutes. Prepare to be cleansed from existence." The transmission cut off. Lieutenant Commander Lee looked to Ju for orders. "Deploy the void mirrors," she said calmly. This was humanity's secret weapon. Technology adapted from Guardian principles, but enhanced by human creativity. The Earth ships released small devices that spread throughout the defensive perimeter. Each was barely larger than a basketball, but contained revolutionary technology. When the Commonwealth fleet opened fire, their massive energy weapons lanced toward Earth. The void mirrors activated. Instead of blocking the attack, they captured the energy, redirected it through higher dimensional space, and returned it to its source. The Commonwealth ships were hit by their own weapons. Dozens of vessels exploded or drifted powerless. The remaining ships fired again with the same result. For every attack they launched, they suffered the consequences. On the command bridge of his flagship, High Commander Vrax watched in disbelief as his carefully planned assault fell apart. Admiral Kim opened a channel again. Her image appeared on every Commonwealth ship. "This is Admiral Ju Kim of Earth. We stand ready to defend ourselves, but we prefer peace. The Guardian has awakened not just to protect us, but to help us join the galactic community. We extend an open hand. Whether you grasp it or face it as a fist is your choice." She paused, then added, "You have 5 minutes to stand down or retreat before we move to offensive operations." Throughout the galaxy, representatives of various powers watched the confrontation through faster-than-light communications. What they saw changed their understanding of the galaxy's balance of power. Earth was no longer a primitive world to be conquered. In just 5 years, it had become a force that could stand against one of the galaxy's oldest powers. After 4 tense minutes, the Commonwealth fleet began to retreat. One by one, they jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving behind their damaged vessels. In the command center, the Earth officers cheered. Lieutenant Commander Lee grinned at Admiral Kim. "They're running away." But Juwoo's expression remained serious. "They'll be back, perhaps with new allies and strategies. This isn't the end." "No," came the Guardian's voice from nearby systems. "It is a beginning. Earth has passed its first true test as a galactic power." Later that day, Admiral Kim and Dr. Kang stood again at the observation window, looking out at Earth. 5 years, Dr. Kang said quietly. "It's hard to believe how far we've come. And how far we still have to go," Juwoo replied. "The Guardian says there are threats in this galaxy far worse than the Commonwealth. But we're not facing them alone anymore," Dr. Kang reminded her. "We have allies now, and we have the Guardian." Juwoo nodded, watching as Earth's first true interstellar vessel prepared for its maiden voyage. The ship, named Pioneer, would travel to the collective homeworld on a mission of peace and cooperation. "A new dawn for humanity," she said softly. Across the stars, civilizations watched and waited to see what would happen next in the story of the small blue planet and its ancient defender, a story that was only just beginning.